welcome to the Book Over Little Book Club, where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, with me is Megan.
Hi, everybody.
And today we're talking about The Choice by Ashley Jade.
Also goes by A Jade, I've noticed as well sometimes.
Yeah.
So either or.
Yeah, I think it does say A Jade
on this one. Yeah.
Okay,
I think it says both sometimes. Yeah.
I was wondering how you felt. Okay, I love The Choice, and I have
Love it.
So good. Now, do you think if you didn't read the words, don't you think you would have loved The Choice just as much?
I do. And I was thinking that I saw someone post something that they saw the choice on TikTok or something. So then they read the words, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? You could read The Choice without reading the words. That's technically the chronological order.
I forgot to look up what was the recommendation, because some people recommended read in the publication order, but I was thinking about it, and in my opinion, you can go either way. I think you can read the words and then go back to The Choice and get all this, because you get all the back history. Or I feel like if you're going to not read the words, read this duet first, and then read the words.
Or do you think that you could read The Choice, the words, then the next part?
I think you could, but then I think the words is going to give away too much of what's going to happen in the consequence. I don't know what happens in the second book, but I mean, I know that the preview that AJ gives at the end of The Choice had a preview of them like as a band, and Josh, spoiler alert, Josh is still here. I guess after we read the consequence, we would know more of how we would feel about it. But we read the words first, and we are still loving it. I'm just afraid of someone or thinking if someone read The Choice and then went to the words while waiting for the consequence, if it would be like, oh, that's
especially
where they end up. That's I can see that, but I wonder how the consequence ends. So it might be fun. Oh, so you have 3 ways, because the words doesn't tell you where they fully end up, right?
And we're gonna learn that, and it's gonna go past the words.
It is. So I think you could do words words and then the duet, or you could do The Choice, words, consequences, or the consequence, or you could do the duet and then the words at the end.
Yeah, which I like that the 3 different reader experiences. I think that's kind of a cool thing. And I'm still deciding, should I read the words while I wait for the consequence? Kind of want to.
I don't know.
Right? It's a good book. I wouldn't mind rereading it. And I because the whole time during The Choice, I'm trying to remember things that were happening, because it's been a while since I read the words. I'm trying to remember certain things about their dynamic.
Right. I remember Memphis being really standoffish with Skylar. And I remember her longingly looking at him, and the torture of him with what he was doing. But then didn't she end up at Chandler's? Remember what's her name?
Wasn't that the one that
whoever the manager is that Chandler?
What is the manager's name? Or was Chandler the other guy that
the head honcho guy? I love the name Chandler.
I need to go back to rewatch. You know what? I think that maybe I need to go reread the word. I think she did end up.
Well, she was there at least, and so they suspected
something, but maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah.
But maybe that again, it's had to be broken up into a duet. I think originally it was going to be one book, then it was broken up into a duet early on. So this was 350 pages. I'm thinking this will be even longer. Is my guess. The second part.
I hope so. It was so well in depth. It was so well, and I love how we get just from them first meeting.
When they're young, and you see them from afar,
all starts falling apart even more.
And I didn't expect her to have this path. I didn't expect this. This took me by surprise. I was like, oh, okay, they have some kind of path. I mean, I knew that they had, the foster thing, but I did not know that she had what she had going on.
Yeah, and that was so sad. And what really helped me was reading the author's note at the beginning of the book. you know, because it's like, yeah, you know, like don't judge, like just like if you haven't been in that position, you don't really know what it's like, kind of
You
thing.
don't.
I just really, she said it really well, and it
Hmm.
helped me with reading
Yeah.
this book. And then it was so good, just the way everything is developed. I really had a, I had a to know the characters well enough to know like what their personalities are. So
Yeah.
like even Josh, like gosh, like right, like he's just this, he's had a really hard life, right? And
Yeah.
he's in the foster care system, but like the choices he makes and how manipulative he is.
Oh
was
yeah, very
I
manipulative.
was like, "Oh my gosh, dude." Like there were so many times where I was like, "Oh my gosh, Josh." Like, and it's like, yeah, I get it. I get how horrible your life is or was.
Hmm.
But like the things he would do, poor Memphis. Like he is so
Oh, he is.
so loyal to his brother. Like he's gonna
Hmm.
get adopted. I won't let you adopt me unless you adopt him too thing. And like just all the things he
Hmm.
did for Josh and Skylar, like sleeping with the
Yeah. Oh.
principal and was like, I'll come over if you reduce her, you know, this and like
Hmm.
all the just and the like covering for Josh. And then like I think the thing that I really wasn't expecting was that night in the woods with Shane and how they killed him
Oh
unexpectedly.
yeah.
And I was like,
That was, but
"Holy," that I was like, "Wait,
but I
what?"
knew it was going to come into play. Me too. I was like, they actually, and then the fact that Memphis actually killed him, I'm like, that's going to come into play. And that made me think of the very beginning and the little, her like, and Skylar was talking about like a prince saving her and slaying, and
Mhm.
she thought it was Josh. And then like even the reading that she thought was Josh.
Yeah,
So I think that's really important because
mhm,
Skylar knows. See, Memphis doesn't know that Josh told her,
right.
but Josh is using that as a manipulative tool.
Yes.
Oh, and that's I think that's a huge. So I know she doesn't like Ashley doesn't want people to judge Skylar, and I don't think they should because first of all, she's young.
Mhm,
She's been through trauma and
mhm,
abuse. She found someone else who's been through trauma and abuse who understands her.
yeah,
They're growing up together in this relationship, so she
mhm,
ends up doing things for him because she thinks they're soulmates.
mhm,
And he did the ultimate thing to show that if you haven't felt love since your mom died, what a way to feel indebted to somebody and loved by someone from them to kill somebody for you.
exactly.
So no matter what, he can do anything, and
Mhm,
she can come back to, well, he killed somebody for me.
mhm,
Like that is the ultimate way to
mhm,
like have somebody in your grasp, like, and forgive him. So that was just the way that she weaved that together. And so many people get upset over cheating, and I don't feel like, I mean, Josh obviously cheated, but I
mhm.
don't feel like she was cheating. Like
Yeah,
I felt like it all felt justified. Like she knew deep down this relationship is toxic. She was outgrowing it, but she kept being brought back. You care for somebody. I mean, and if you've ever been in a relationship, and even in a crappy one, it's more nuanced than right and wrong. You do have shades of gray, and especially when you're in it, you have blinders and on.
yeah.
So I like the way that it was written to where I could justify what they were doing. It didn't feel like cheating. They did break. They were on a break for a lot of their romance.
They were broken
um
up.
yes,
They were broken. She
it was
broke up
so
with him.
brilliant. Yes, it was just so brilliant though how
Right.
she
He
did it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I not once, because yeah, I'm like, I won't. There's only one book I've read where the main characters cheated, and it was so well
Hmm.
written that I was okay with it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it
so,
made sense.
you know,
Josh is
and
just
Josh, I'm like, yeah, like all of them, and it's like Memphis, like, you know, being like, wait, you said this, like catching on certain words and be like, you know, and then him being upset, but he's like, it's not my place, and da da da. And then, like, back to like that night in the woods and how, like, you know, Memphis, like, does, you know, shoots him, and then he's like, you know, he did that, and then Josh took it, acted like he was like on his side and is using it now. So I'm like, as much as Memphis is like, this is my brother, Josh has always used the hey, you're my brother just to manipulate him, I feel like.
yeah, I agree.
And
And
then the same thing with
and so he's
Skylar,
using it to manipulate Skylar and him. I feel like
mm-hmm,
that's the only way that he knows how to love. I
to
feel like
love and
he,
have a relationship and have someone
yeah,
stay
he
is, you know,
to
and everything was
manipulate
a
them into
test with
it.
him. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh, you failed the
It
test. And I'm like,
was.
dude, you shouldn't be testing.
Well,
You
and I
shouldn't be
even wondered,
setting up
was
a
it even a
test.
test? Well, I even wondered if it was a test or if he was just saying that to play it off. I still think he kind of had a thing for him. I do think he had a thing
Yeah,
for him. And
yeah.
he, like, deep
It
down,
was like,
and the way,
let me see how it will
yeah,
turn out. Oh, okay, no, I'm just kidding. Like,
be-
yeah, I can see
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So I think it might have been a little bit of both. Like he was testing that, but also testing the waters. Like I just feel like there was something there. I mean, obviously Josh has been through it. See, that's the thing though. I mean, it gets worse though with Josh, but at first I could see where he is coming from.
Right.
He's confused about his sexuality. He was abused, by
Mhm.
a man. He identifies as bisexual. He wants, and when you're young and you're in a relationship that young, it is hard to commit to one person. Should you have to commit to one person if you want to explore? I can understand why they decided to have that kind of
Right.
relationship, because they wanted to be together. They felt like they were soulmates, but they also wanted to live life and like explore, and that's the way that they were able to do it.
Josh
Um,
wanted that.
Josh wanted,
She
that's the thing,
didn't
the
want
Skylar
that.
didn't, and that you're right, and I hate that he pressured her. He should have let her go and been like, let's go on a break.
Yeah.
Like I always say the Corey and Topanga thing, because I always think of Boy Meets World, how they met their soulmates so young, but it was too young and they needed to take that break to come
Mhm.
back and get married for college.
Right. Well,
And
and
I know people like that needed to do that. Like in
yeah.
college, they came to college together and they needed a little break in college to like explore for a minute, and then they got back together and got married.
Hmm.
So,
Well, and then for her,
mhm,
she just wanted, like you said, the love. And then there was one part in the
yeah,
book, like when they started having sex, and she was like,
hmm,
well, Josh showed me my body. It's not Shane's body. My body isn't Shane's body, it's his
yeah,
body. And I highlighted that because it broke my heart, because for a young girl
yeah.
to be like it, I'm like, no, honey, it's
It's
your
your
body. It's
body.
your
I thought the
body. You
same
can say
thing.
no. And if your partner is not
Mhm.
respecting your wishes on what you do to your body,
Mhm.
that's not okay. And so I just felt, because you put your mind, you're like, okay, this is a young high school teenager girl gone through
Who's been
hell and back,
abused,
manipulative boyfriend, like I can
neglected.
totally see it. And then for her to be like, you don't make love to me, it's not slow, and him like teasing her
Mhm.
about stuff. And then when she's finally with,
Oh,
even the gentle things
her
Memphis would
body
do,
parts.
and
Like,
he's like, "You're beautiful. I love it." And she's like, "What?" And then when they finally did sleep together, how
mhm.
he like made love to her, because he has
He
loved
did.
her since the first night he saw her crying in the
Mhm.
window. And so it's like, it's just like this whole series of unfortunate events, and like seeing the person that, like, if Josh wasn't there
Yeah.
that one day and it was Memphis,
Yeah.
and then knowing that Fortune from her
Yes, how that.
mom, and she's reading it.
Mhm.
That's the thing about fortune telling, reading cards, palm readings, all that stuff is
Mhm.
all subjective, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, that's why, like, people who do it, like, you write in a journal like what your reading was, and then
Mhm.
you can go back to it and be like, okay, that's what it meant. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
it's just like, like, I think I know that the reading's more, Memphis is going to be it, because there was the what was it?
I
There's a
agree.
wording in it that was something,
There was
a
something about
storm or
the
a tragedy.
storm, yes, and the armor, and I think, well, because
He's
he
gonna
did
bring her
kill,
back. He's the
yes,
only one that could bring
uh,
her back. Yeah.
yes, and I liked that trip, and I liked that. Again, I've said this before in other podcasts, that I like when we can be realistic that some girls do want a knight in shining armor. I know not all girls want one, not all girls need one, but Skylar, that's who she is. Like she dreamt of somebody, and I'm not, and you know what, she's gonna, and we see her in the words, and she's strong. She
Mhm.
is strong. She gets stuff done. I know in this book, she's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm good at this. I'm good at like researching, and she finds her place, and she's good at her job.
Yeah.
So maybe she will, but I do like that aspect, because when you are a little girl, you do dream of that, especially if you had a tough life. So it's realistic.
Yeah.
Um, and and of course she's gonna hold on to this fortune of her that her mom gave her. And then there's Skylar and the stars, and Memphis is like, of course her name is Skylar, and he just there. It almost feels very fated. Like they're definitely fated to be together, but they have to go through all this stuff.
All of it's faded though, because when you just said that, I thought
Hmm.
about Memphis being discovered. I'm like, who would have thought
Yes,
that him
yes.
working late and then the guy coming
Hmm.
in and being a total like, I need this, and he's like, here you go, Dick, and like sends him off, and then he comes back in while he's
Yeah,
playing the guitar, and it's like, and he's like, do it again, do this,
I
play this,
love
and then
that moment.
I had chills because I was like, oh my gosh,
Goosebumps.
it,
Yes,
this is it for you, you
this is
got
it.
it,
He's getting
Memphis.
discovered.
And then
Yes.
like it just killed me, that ending, because I was so happy for him, so happy, and I was so happy.
Hmm.
Like I love his parents, his the Valerie and
I did not see them coming. They were such great
I
characters. His
love
foster
them.
father, his relationship with his foster father, I loved it. I
Loved
loved
it.
the way he described as
Mhm.
this tall
Yeah.
man, and they're
Oh,
scared
this
of
is
him.
only
They're
the
scared of
whatever
him.
meal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's always hungry,
See, and
at
that's what
some
I
point they
loved
had,
about
yeah,
that. Yeah.
they had a family time, and they invited Skylar over. They embraced Josh's girlfriend, their neighbor, and they cared. And even before that, Skylar said, "Oh, I like that couple. They're so nice. I'm sorry they moved." And they're like, "Oh, they didn't move. We're the foster kids."
Yeah.
So I loved that family dynamic. How he looked at Memphis when Skylar was upset after prom, and he knew he knew Memphis had a crush on her. He knew he's taking up to the room, and he just gave her a look like, "Okay, I get it. Lock you." He's like, "Lock your door."
Yeah.
Because he's like he just understands, and it's just I think it's so beautiful when people take in old foster kids that are a little
Oh yeah.
that might be 13. That's something that always gets me.
Yeah.
So I really love that they were able to find a
I loved
family.
it. I loved that family. And what really killed me was the end with like Josh getting in the accident, and then him
Hmm.
or the accident and her finding out that he cheated, but then and it's just like, oh my gosh, like and then the him slitting his wrist, and I'm almost like, did he do it just to manipulate the situation? Like he didn't want to lose her, so he's gonna tear his brother apart. He's gonna make
Hmm.
her feel guilty because he knew he knew she was up there. He
Yeah.
knew if he did it that she would come and save him right away.
Hmm.
And so I read that and I was like, he did it. He did it. He wasn't suicidal. He did it to do this. And I'm like, holy
I think
smoke, you're
so.
intense, dude. Intense. And then for him to like
Yeah.
basically like be like, you're with me. You're gonna stay with me with her, like, totally. And then like crying in front of Memphis and being like, you failed the test and this is what's gonna happen. And then now
Hmm.
Memphis, like, if did you read the preview?
I didn't read the preview. I do know the
Good. The
using.
preview,
I
it's
do
so
know
short and it's so
the.
good.
I was scared because the ending. At first, I took a break from the ending. I had like a couple chapters left, and I was like, maybe I'll save it because I'm a little scared of what's going to happen next. And then we decided to do the podcast. I'm like, I'm going to read it, and then I was like, oh, I can't read the preview. I'm scared.
Okay, well, the
But
preview, Memphis,
you
I'll,
can tell me. Mhm.
he basically says the like keep your enemies close
Yeah.
thing
Okay.
about
Which
Josh. So
he knows
it's
that
a
Josh
preview of
is.
them as in the band Shark
Because I know he
Optics.
threatens Josh with, what he did and everything. So
Yeah. Yeah,
they're
so
meant,
that's
yeah,
the thing, like
ultimate
Josh is
manipulator.
like using that night where he saved Skylar, and it's so I love
Yeah.
Memphis so much because of his loyalty, and as much as like Josh is such a shithead to him, and later on, like he's only keeping him around to keep him close to him, to keep an eye on him and what he's doing.
Yeah.
The fact that like he never told so far he has not told Skylar that he was the one, because as far as he knows it, Skylar doesn't know. And so it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is the miscommunication trope that is
Yeah.
beautiful
That's
because
done right and not infuriating. It's not,
no,
it makes sense.
yes,
Yes, they
yes.
well said, Sarah. Yes, this is how you do it. This is how you, yes.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. It's
And
one
it's
of those
not the
things.
main, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I want to say how, like, again, I can see how she got manipulated by Josh because I do feel for him. I see how they relate to each
Yes.
other, but then it got worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
But with the suicidal thing, and that I really do think that was the ultimate manipulation. And like I remember studying psychology and reading about the different types of suicide, and there are people that, of course, they're like someone like him would be like, I don't care. Like I'm not saying he didn't want to die. Like I think he would have been like, well, if I die, I die. but he was like so desperate to keep her. He's like, well, if I die, I die, but this can also be my way to keep
Mhm.
her. I forget what it was called, but there was like a different type of um because I think people are scared when it comes to suicide to be like, oh, someone's just doing it for attention, but there is a type where they do it just for the attention and the manipulation. That they still don't, that they're still sick, of course, they're still very
Right.
ill, and they still, don't care if they die to that point because they're like so messed up. So I
Mhm.
think Josh is very messed up. He
Oh
obviously
yeah.
needs help,
He
like,
he has a lot of things, and that's the thing, like,
but there's lines that he's
he's
like
crossing a
way,
lot of lines. He
it's
needs the
abusive. It
help.
really is. It's abusive towards her.
He
It's
is, but
not
he's
right.
like, you know, he's
Yeah.
just sucked on to her, and it's like, I need you, you're it. And in his head, I really do believe that he believes
Mm.
that he needs to have her.
I do too. I
And
do too. I believe
and
he
I
believes that as well.
yeah.
I think
So
it's not
it's
like a
just like,
narcissism personality disorder. I think, yeah, I feel like there's a couple things I could diagnose them with.
but then I just like, because I did read the words before this,
Hmm.
and it's been a while since I read the words. I just keep on thinking of what happens to Josh, and even how
At
that
the very
whole
beginning
night
of
goes on with like
me
Skylar
too.
banging on the door, and
And
then
on the
him like, let's go
door,
for the ride, and then
yeah,
them
and the
pulling over, and he's like,
drugs.
oh, I'll
Hmm.
drive, I'm fine, and everything, and like even
Such a Josh
Josh's last
move. Yeah.
words. So I was thinking that during the book, and I'm like, gosh, like this is
Me
just
too.
such an amazing read, and I
I was like,
cannot.
did she think all of this when she was writing the words, or did she come up with this after?
I don't know,
It's like,
that's a
what?
wonderful question, because 'cause I'm like,
That
I wanna
is.
know how much is this
Gotta ask
plotted
that in
out
the
and how much of
spoiler
this just
group.
comes to come
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
did it come after? Because it's brilliant. The way
Mhm,
she wove this,
mhm,
like I said, I did not see this coming for their beginning story.
mhm.
And I can't wait to see what happens, with the band stuff before we see in the words, like during, because we obviously know there's a lot going on during. And spoiler alert for the words, I don't think that's his baby. And that's another thing. We learned that Skylar can't have kids, and I can't remember if we knew that in the words. I
I
can't
don't think
remember
we
if
know that in the words,
we
but when she
don't.
tells
Okay.
him that and he said he wants to have, like, tons of babies, and he's
I
like, "I
know
can't
that
have
hit me
babies,"
so
but then I was like, "You
hard.
guys are forgetting, like, look at
Hmm.
Memphis, look at Josh.
That's what I was
You
thinking.
can still
Fostering.
have babies, you can foster, you can have
You
all
can
the
do, yes,
children, you can save so many children, you can help so many
exactly.
children."
You can adopt, foster
Yeah,
to
so I was
adopt.
like, she's
Hmm.
not thinking like, in him, the thing is she wrote teenage boys so well with
Oh,
the
yes.
not using their words.
So well. Yes.
You
Especially
know,
Memphis did not use his word.
there were so many
Josh is
times where I'm like,
the
"Could
epitome
you
of a
be
teenage
older
boy.
and use your words?"
Yes. Yes.
So I was
Oh
like,
my
because he
gosh,
could have,
right?
she misinterpreted so many
Hmm.
times him not saying something or a look, and I'm like, that wasn't disappointing that you can't. He's probably upset that that happened to you,
To
that now you
you.
can't have him, not the fact that he couldn't have children with you in the future.
Yes.
That's Memphis.
Hmm.
He's sad for you, not sad for himself. And he's probably already
Exactly.
thinking like there's a way, because he's smart, and he's
And
dedicated
yeah, and
and
he
loyal. Yeah. So
and
I was
he
I
wants a family. Like, of course you
Mhm,
would think he'd want to adopt foster kids being in the foster system.
mhm,
You would think that.
mhm,
Well, and also we get his past too, which I almost forgot, that he had a traumatic
mhm.
thing happen with his mom. So
Yeah.
he's got trauma.
Mhm.
Everyone's got
Well,
trauma.
and how he's like, don't trust because then they can break you, and like all of
Hmm.
his thing, and then
And the
he finally opens
sociopath
up to
thing.
Skylar
Yes.
fully, and then what
Hmm.
happens? And I was like,
Oh, I know. But didn't it make you just fall for Memphis, like in a way, like that you didn't feel in the words? Like it's like this is not the character I expected, like from the
Mm-mm.
words. I mean,
Okay.
parts of it are
He,
the way that he wanted to stick by the woman who was pregnant,
mhm,
even though he didn't like her. It's
mhm.
obviously he didn't like her, but he wanted to stick. That's very Memphis. Like he'd stand up in that way.
Yeah. I
Oh,
was attracted to
mm.
Memphis in the words, though. Like, I
I was
liked him.
too.
I
I
was
was
so
too,
like,
but
okay,
this
let's
is
all be honest.
different.
We get attracted to fictional characters, and he was
Oh,
totally my type.
yeah,
And I was, yeah, yeah. So I was like,
yeah.
yes, I love Memphis. And so but this book,
It makes it like it turns up.
yeah.
It turns him up as like getting his
Mhm,
inner thoughts
mhm,
just so well written
mhm,
and so fleshed out. Like again, these books that we talk about, our favorite ones, they're just full people. they've created, like, these authors can create some authors can create full people that they have ruined me for other books, where I'm like, "Well, this is an interesting plot, but where is the full
Mhm,
person?"
mhm.
But, it's just it's magical
It
the
is
way that this book is written. It's just it's really, really brilliant.
so good.
Oh
And
gosh, there was one other
honestly,
thing I wanted to mention, I can't remember.
I
Mhm.
think I probably now that we're talking about it, because The Consequence doesn't come out for a while still, right? Like, it's
I
like
think March at the latest, I've heard.
okay. I
Yeah.
might have to read the words just to hold
Right,
me over.
right, right, I feel like we have
Mhm,
to.
mhm. Yeah, it's so good.
Like,
It's just
it's such a good book,
mhm.
might as well reread it and then get all the Memphis Schuyler little Easter eggs, and then I
Yeah,
wanna know if we're gonna get I know we're not getting certain characters from the words, that Ashley announced, totally respect that, but I'm wondering if we'll get anybody else from this universe, who knows? Maybe we'll get that music producer or somebody from that we learn about in the next book, who
right?
knows? I just really like this I don't know, I
You
just
like
like I
this
love these
world
books.
she's
This
creating?
world, yes,
Yeah,
and these stories
yeah,
of yeah, I
so
really
well
enjoy it.
written.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I just can't there was one other thing I wanted to mention, and I wish I could oh, the plot line with the principal and how Skylar was like, "Hey, no, that is abuse." Like, you're saying it did start at 17, you're saying you can consent, but you don't realize it yet. And that's true. Like, I don't think, I mean, and I know there are like that she's much older, so there's like that Romeo and Juliet law does not count. So and she's in a power position.
Mhm.
And as much as I think Memphis is a strong guy who can take care of himself, I like that Skylar pointed that out, and I like that they can kind of. I mean, I don't like that he had to go through that, but they can relate. That's another thing they can relate with.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was interesting that they connected over it. And I love that he went and he worked at that house. And then we had this whole relationship. That's the thing. We had the drama, but we've got these like beautiful moments of
Mhm,
them getting to know each other, looking at the stars, getting stuck in the rain,
mhm.
working in this like crazy like ladies
It's so
like
elegant.
mansion with yeah, she painted the nails and the ladies like wearing these like extravagant
Yes.
like
How
get
fun. Could you imagine as
yeah,
a
it
high
just sounds
schooler being there on
yes,
your weekends
it
with
sounds
your
so
friend?
cool.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
she's cooking,
work,
he's, like,
but
doing gutters, they're laying out, I just
mhm,
sounds like I love this 'cause we got they did get time to, like, develop this
mhm.
relationship, so we had all that going on, but we also had these, like, great
Yeah,
moments. It was just an enjoyable read.
really
It's just
enjoyable. It was really
and
well
just
balanced because it
yeah.
wasn't all
Yes.
the tragic, the trauma.
Mhm.
There was the lust, the steam, the romance, the friendship.
Mhm.
It was really, really well done. I just
So well done.
so good.
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
Oh, one more thing, and the way that he manipulated about the friend, he's like, "Oh, your friend hit on me," and then she believed him, and I'm like, "That's so classic where the girl believes
Of
the
course.
toxic boyfriend," and I'm like and she fought for that friend so hard, willing to get expelled for her, but when Josh accuses the friend, boom,
Mhm.
instant, like
That what I loved is Skylar. How many people do you know have the balls to call someone up and say, "You were right, I was wrong. I am so
yep, and
sorry."
apologize.
Because
Not many.
not many.
Yep.
So I loved that about her
Mhm.
when she
Me too.
realized, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's I love Skylar because like she could be a shit person for all the things that she's gone through. She really
Mhm.
could be, but
But she's not.
she's not. She's a good
And
person.
And when she gets picked on and stuff and, slut shamed, she's like, "Whatever, I'm gonna pull down my pants and moon you. I don't care if you're slut shaming me." She's like, that's one strong way to handle things. And then like her aunt's dying of cancer. I mean, she's got so much going on to her, but
That
she
was
like
hard
handles
for
it so
me.
well.
That was so hard for me because she's like
Mhm.
she's like I had to say I forgive you even though she didn't forgive her, but she
Yeah.
understood, and that's really
Mhm.
deep to be like I understood your side of things, but I don't
Yeah.
forgive you because I was a child and you should have saved me. But like what
Yeah.
do you say to somebody? You put yourself in her position. What do you say to somebody on their
You dying.
deathbed literally who's
Literally.
just waiting for you to forgive them for them to die?
And that shows Skylar's character. And just look at everything we listed. We listed so much stuff that was in this like what was a 350-page book. I mean,
Mhm.
just wow, honestly. It's really something, and it's just woven together
Mhm.
so well. And I do want to mention, I saw a post about people comparing, I think, Lennon and Skylar. Lennon from the words.
Mhm.
And I think like Ashley had said that like a lot of people related with Lennon, but they're not the same character. They're not going to make the same choices. It's literally called The Choice. I'm going to say I really love Skylar. I feel like I can relate to Skylar in certain ways, and I can relate to Lennon in certain ways. And I love the character of Skylar.
Mhm.
I respect her. I get where she's coming from. She has some hard choices to make, but I love that character. So just
I
putting
love
that out
both of
there.
them. I like
Me
I and
too.
but to me,
Oh,
I'm
both
like,
of
they're
them.
totally separate in my head.
Separate,
Mhm.
and yet they made great friends in the
Mhm.
words. So
Oh, I know. I love their friendship. And think about it now that we
mhm,
know more of Skylar, like she needs that friendship too,
she
because
does. Oh yeah.
she
And it
I doubt
fits.
Josh is letting her
Mhm.
make good girlfriends, friendships. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
God, we have to read the words again now.
Yeah.
We just have to read it
That's our
before
homework
the
with the book for
conference.
this one is to read the
That's our
words.
homework in the book. I love it.
That's what's
Yep.
gonna happen. Like tonight, I'm reading the
Tonight.
words.
I think you know what, me too.
Yeah.
We've talked ourselves into
I think so. Yeah.
it.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Okay.
Okay.
Me too.
So good. I
So
obviously you
good.
guys can tell we loved it. So
Yeah. I'm sure look out for our podcast on the second one so we can just gush some more.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.